Natalie, thank you for the opportunity to be part of your article on understanding the high calorific diets of young men on holidays. I've had a chance to watch the TikToks, and the first one, was the 6.9 foot guy on holidays, enjoying around 7 meals a day. In terms of, I looked at the basal metabolic rate. So, how much does he need in terms of food consumption to maintain just basic needs such as breathing, respiration, and get the heart working and digestion, all those basic needs. So without activity, and a 6'9" guy, 90 kilos. I assumed it was around roughly 20 years old, and I assumed 90 kilos. The calculation came in at about 2,200 calories per day just to maintain what he's got. So he's natural, fairly slim physique. So that's that in essence is around 4 meals a day. Now, if you look at moderate activity, so you times that basal metabolic rate by about 1.5 for moderate activity, which is typically what a 20-year-old or in their 20s would do. And that would then take it to over 3,000 calories per day. So then you're looking like the average meal is typically around 400 to 500 calories. Around 3,000, 3,500, somewhere, that's what he needs in order to maintain his current weight. So that would be around 7 meals. So he's not eating excessively for his height. And I assume the weight's roughly around 90, and his age around 20. So in essence, that's typically what he needs to maintain what he's got. Now, in terms of the types of foods he's eating, there's some that are really fast in terms of hamburgers and stuff like that, and I meant fast foods, and they're cooked in seed oils. Those seed oils are really toxic to the body. They contain high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and that's pro-inflammatory. So omega-6, omega-3 are essential fatty acids that the body needs. We need to take them in through our diet. But when we're consuming takeaway or fast food, so cakes, biscuits, anything processed, heavily processed, is typically what is used is seed oils. They're cheaper. Those seed oils have a high omega-6 ratio. That high omega-6 ratio is pro-inflammatory. Now, that pro-inflammatory food could be countered by the fact that he's on holiday. So he's relaxed, he's enjoying himself. So that also brings me to the point that when you're relaxed and enjoying yourself, then you're typically got your digestive system switched on. So it answers that question of yours in terms of, could he be possibly, well, he looks like he's enjoying it. Could he be possibly enjoying eating that much food? Well, his metabolic needs indicate that he may need that amount of food, roughly around 3,000 calories a day, just to maintain his current structure. And also he's relaxed, so he's fairly hungry. When we're relaxed, we're fairly hungry. When we're stressed, we generally are not hungry. But in saying that, some people use food, they go to comfort foods in order to alleviate the stress. Now, what we know is when the body's not stressed, our regulation is far better. We're more adaptable to switch between activity and rest, and our body, naturally fluctuates between the two and will perform its bodily functions more in a more normal way under less stress. So holidays are really helpful in terms of making sure the body is optimal, and that means processing the foods, so digestion's better. Digestion will be improved. He'll probably be more energetic and have more energy to enjoy the holiday. And so there's less stress. So when we're stressed, the concern is that our body doesn't become well regulated, and it becomes dysfunctional, and that can cause our body to not process foods properly, indigestion, and we don't feel hungry, or we're eating to alleviate the stress, and so that emotional eating can come into it. So I guess to answer your question, young people do consume more foods simply because they're generally more active, and some, depending on the person, can be more active on holidays. Some people a bit maybe less active, but young people typically have more energy. They're moving around more, enjoying sightseeing, having more fun together. So they are fairly active, I would assume. Now that's the other thing. I mean, on face value, you you can assume that they're enjoying eating that amount of food, and you can assume that they eat all of it. But in actual fact, we don't know. So we don't know whether they're eating all the food and whether or not they're enjoying it. So that's the other question mark. But I guess in terms of the types of food, yeah, the fast foods he's eating, uh, not great. As I said, they're more pro-inflammatory, and in terms of whether that's good for blood pressure, heart health. Now, what's really important around blood pressure and heart health is managing stress. Now, they're managing stress because they're on holidays, they're enjoying themselves, they're relaxed. So that's really important. That will actually lower blood pressure. Now, eating more saturated fats and proteins, will that cause an issue with blood pressure? Well, as I said, it depends on the type of fat. So if they're eating fat from seed oils, which is typically the fried stuff, so anything fried is coming from seed oils, that's pro-inflammatory. That will affect them over time. So obviously not having a fried meal once or just on holidays and then going back to eating less fried foods, then that's not going to have a much of a bearing on heart health. Heart health's more implicated over time. So if we do bad things or things that are not so helpful for our heart over time, then that will cause uh, poor heart health, atherosclerosis, elevated blood pressure. Now, the fact that if he is moving around, he's moderately active, that supports lowering blood pressure or keeping blood pressure regulated. If he's relaxing more, that will keep blood pressure low. And as I said, heart health is really only implicated over long terms of doing things that are not supportive to good heart health. And as I said, that could be eating fried foods or foods that are heavily processed that have seed oils. So what would be better would be more seafood. So seafood has a higher omega-3 ratio to omega-6, and that is more anti-inflammatory, more supportive of support. We need both. We actually need omega-6 and omega-3. The problem is the Western diet has typically more omega-6 to omega-3, and so therefore it's more pro-inflammatory. Pro-inflammatory is not helpful in terms of heart health, blood pressure. So we much better to have a ratio that has a good balance between omega-6 and omega-3, and that's by introducing more fish and making sure the fish that you're eating isn't deeply fried, because so it really depends on the oils that are used. In terms of, there was a fair bit of carbohydrates in his diet. Now, carbohydrates, the gut health likes, our gut enjoys, like fibrous foods is really exciting to our gut health. Our bacteria within our intestines, they break down fiber and create these um, short chain fatty acids such as butyrate and propionate, and they're quite anti-inflammatory. What it produces, also our bacteria is responsible for producing serotonin and B vitamins. So having good amounts of serotonin makes us feel more content, more satisfied, puts a smile on our face. Hence why generally eating food that we like and we're eating it in good company, which you assume that they're with their partners, they're enjoying their holiday, eating in good company. So that increases oxytocin, which is the neurotransmitter associated with connection, where the gut's producing serotonin. And so there's going to be, positive associations which really support good digestion. And so that enables them to consume I guess, more food. When we're stressed, yeah, we generally don't like eating because our digestion is switched off. So I hope that really answers your questions. If you got any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, in summarizing, uh, it really depends on um, the person, their state of mind, and I guess their physique. So everyone's different height, different weights, different age. Calorific needs are different based on the basal metabolic rate associated with height, weight, and age, and then their uh, I guess the activity also has an impact on how much is required by the body to either maintain current body weight or whether you want to lose it or gain weight. Depends on your goal. So yeah, really comes down to the person. Um, would the average person be sick at eating that amount of food? If you're older, so beyond your 20s, say 40s and beyond, then your metabolic requirements are less. We we come a bit slower as we age, and also we so it depends on the activity, I guess. But generally, our metabolism is slowing down as we age, so we generally eat less as we age, depending on whether you're using food as a comfort or for emotional needs. Then people will still keep eating, and also if you have dysregulated insulin or dysregulated leptin, then that can drive more hunger. So, but on holidays, we're regulated. We're going to have good regulation of insulin, leptin. We'll have good regulation of blood sugar because the body's in a state of balance. It can switch between activity and rest and digest. So, whereas when we're stressed in our work and our job, then it's generally switched to one side, which is activity, drive, sympathetic dominance, and that if it's stuck there, then it affects our digestion. It affects how we metabolize food. So that sort of answers that question around holidays, or really helps digestion and body regulation. So hope that really helps in terms of answering your questions. If you've got any more, please let me know. And yeah, until next time, please reach out if you've got any further questions around diet, nutrition, just in terms of fat and protein. So I mentioned the fats that are not helpful, such as the typically fried fats that use seed oils or vegetable oils. The fats that are better for the body, avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil. Then you've got like fish oil. By eating fish or consuming seafood is much better. So and not heating oil. So when we're heating at high temperatures, such as when we're frying foods, then that denatures the fat and it makes it unstable. And that unstable fat can cause toxicity in the body. So we certainly don't want to be heating our oils. Ideally, the oils that we want to heat are the ones that are saturated fats, such as taro, lard. Those saturated fats are much better for heating. The monounsaturated fats, such as olive oil, no good for heating. Coconut oil is okay. And we certainly don't want to be cooking with seed oils, such as grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, vegetable oils. All those ones are terrible in terms of high omega-6 ratios. And I described and explained why omega-6 or excess omega-6 and low omega-3 is pro-inflammatory. We need a good balance between omega-6 and omega-3 to manage inflammation and anti-inflammation. We need inflammation to fight disease. We need inflammation for our immune system. We need inflammation for repair. However, we don't want excessive amounts of inflammation. That's anything in excess or deficiency is not good for the body. We want it in balance. Holidays help with maintaining that balance. So I really hope that helps. In terms of protein, I guess also touching on fat and protein, they're very satiated. So they provide a great sense of fullness. So we don't need a lot of fat and protein in order to feel satiated, full. So they're really good. So fat, protein, and fiber help fullness. And we can generally, if we eat slow, we'll consume, moderate or healthy amounts of food. If we eat fast, then we consume too much. If we eat mainly carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates without fiber, then we're going to need to eat a whole lot more, and in order to feel full and satisfied. So fat and protein actually helps satisfaction. We generally eat less, and I maybe in most cases the meal wasn't finished, particularly if the guy was not hungry, probably would have just enjoyed half of it, or and because it's provided by the boat and you've already paid for it and you can eat as much as you want, then people don't feel that they need to eat all of it. They can just try and eat, and sample all different things. And I think that's when it's you've already paid for it and there's lots of variety available, then people can get experimental, or they can get curious and they can try a whole lot of things, but not necessarily eat it all because they might not like it. Like in one of the videos, the partner mentioned that the meat was tough. Then he probably wouldn't have eaten all the meat. There's no need to, because he can choose other foods that are more nicer or better cooked, or taste better. So yeah, so that's the other thing we don't know on face value is whether they ate it all. And but yeah, I hope I've answered what you asked in terms of but fat and protein, as I said, it will, if you eat it slowly, then it will fill you up quicker and you feel satisfied with less, even though it's more high calorific in value, but you need less of it to feel full. Whereas highly processed carbohydrates, you need more of it and you end up consuming more calories, particularly if you eat fast. So hope that really helps answer your questions. And yeah, please reach out if you've got any further questions. I'm happy to answer them. I love talking nutrition and all things health and wellness. So thank you, Natalie, for inviting me into your story on understanding these high calorie diets with young people. The other thing, with young people is their metabolic rate is really good, and the body can repair fast. Everything's done faster, but as we age, our metabolic rate declines. So we generally consume more foods when we're younger, high volumes of foods. As we get older, with our declining metabolic rate, then we generally eat less unless we're emotionally eating, okay? Or we have dysregulation such as insulin resistance, or we have leptin resistance, and we're not getting the signals to say we're full and we're getting signals to say we're hungry. And so that's what can drive obesity. Whereas young people with low stress have a regulated system and they get satiety signals and they stop eating when they're full, and everything's working a whole lot better. Metabolism works a whole lot better when you're younger. So I hope that helps. And until next time, continue to I hope the article goes well for you. So thanks, Natalie.